One lawn mowing company turned free jobs into millions of views and a massive business. Not because they underpriced their work, but because they understood something that entrepreneurs still ignore. In the modern economy, views can be money. Welcome to the briefing. Today, we're talking about something many entrepreneurs still underestimate: attention. Because in the modern economy, attention can be converted directly into revenue. And social media has made that easier than at any point in history. Most people still interact with these platforms the same way they always have, as entertainment, as a place to scroll, to watch short clips, to pass time. However, if you're building a business, social media isn't just entertainment, it's infrastructure. And the way you choose to use it can determine how quickly your business grows. Most people use social media for one thing: consumption. Scrolling, memes, short videos, endless content streams designed to capture attention, rarely to create value. This is what people often refer to as brain rot. Hours disappear and nothing meaningful is created. The exact same platforms can also be used in a completely different way, not as entertainment, as a marketing engine. And later in this briefing, I'll show you something interesting: why some entrepreneurs are now using AI and content creation together to replace entire marketing departments. First, we need to understand how attention event actually becomes revenue. The same systems that capture attention can also generate customers. The difference comes down to one simple choice: are you consuming attention or capturing it? And that choice is something we discussed earlier in the series. In briefing one, we talked about mental authorship. The idea that many of the patterns in our lives are inherited, not consciously chosen. Social media habits are a perfect example. Most people never decide on how they use these platforms. They simply adopted the default behavior: scroll, consume, repeat. Entrepreneurs rewrite that script. They ask a different question: how can this tool build my future? A great example of this strategy is Spencer, the creator behind SB Mowing. His content is incredibly simple. He finds overgrown lawns, neglected properties, places that people drive past without noticing, and he cleans them up, sometimes for free, sometimes at very low cost. However, he records the entire transformation, from start to finish. Then he shares the process online. The cutting, the cleanup, the transformation, and people love watching it. Millions of views. More importantly, massive exposure for his business. People who have lawns that need attention now know exactly who to call. At first glance, some people think this looks like underpricing, doing work for free, or doing it for very little money. That's not what's happening here. There's a strategic trade taking place. Instead of charging full price for the service, he's exchanging that revenue for something else: exposure, audience growth, brand authority. The same visibility many businesses pay thousands of dollars for through advertising. In other words, the job itself becomes the advertisement. Now, this is where something important connects to our previous briefing. In briefing two, we talked about pricing and self-worth, charging appropriately for your skill set. However, there's a difference between undervaluing your work and strategically leveraging it. One comes from insecurity, the other comes from strategy, and the market responds very differently to each. This is how the modern attention economy works. Views create visibility. Visibility creates trust. Trust creates customers, and customers create revenue. For decades, business had to buy that visibility through billboards, radio ads, television commercials, print media, massive marketing budgets. Now something extraordinary has happened. Individuals can generate that same visibility with nothing more than a phone and an internet connection, which means something powerful has changed. The barrier to marketing is no longer money. It's creativity, consistency, and a willingness to show your work publicly. And here's where many entrepreneurs miss that opportunity. They separate their work from their marketing. They do the work privately, then attempt to promote the results afterwards. But modern platforms reward something different: transparency, process, transformation. Instead of hiding the work, you document it. You show the progress, you explain what you're doing, you teach along the way. A mechanic showing a repair, a contractor documenting a renovation, a designer explaining a brand transformation, a consultant breaking down strategy. Suddenly, your work becomes proof. People no longer have to guess if you're good at what you do. They can see it in real time. And when people repeatedly see that someone's solving problems, they begin to associate that person with expertise. Earlier, I mentioned that some entrepreneurs are replacing entire marketing teams with AI tools and content. This is where that becomes possible. Something else is happening right now that makes this even more powerful. Artificial intelligence is rapidly replacing many operational roles inside businesses. Tasks that once required editors, marketers, copywriters, research assistants can now be handled with AI tools, which means entrepreneurs today can do something previous generations couldn't. They can run leaner businesses, smaller teams, lower overhead, and faster execution. In other words, you can focus more energy on the one thing that matters most: creating value and sharing it with the market. Most people hold the most powerful marketing device in history every single day: their phone, and they can use it almost entirely for consumption. However, that same device can also be used to build an audience, demonstrate expertise, attract customers, create authority in your field. The technology already exists, the platforms already exist, and the tools already exist. The only question is how you choose to use them. Social media can absolutely be a source of brain rot. It can also be one of the most powerful business tools ever created. The difference isn't the platform, it's the intention behind how it's used. Some people scroll, others build. And the people who learn how to convert attention into opportunity often find themselves growing businesses far faster than traditional marketing ever allowed. If you're starting to see how strategy, attention, and positioning all connect, that's exactly why we built the Sovereign Spark. It's the entry point into the Sovereign Stratagem, where we focus on the fundamentals most entrepreneurs never learn: how to position your skills, how to communicate value clearly, and how to build a framework that can actually generate revenue. If you want to start building that foundation, you'll find the Sovereign Spark link below. This has been the Sovereign Briefing number 3, and the strategy continues.